So for the first topic, well, we see a picture in the background, and the picture has been all too familiar for myself as well, where I was sitting with my two sons at the kitchen table. They're working on their classwork, I with my normal work, and helping them in between. And what I've seen also with my kids is that they were using both a computer, but the teacher had put digital resources online, but they also used books and handouts they have brought with them from school. So in this first topic, taking learning online, I want to discuss and demonstrate how you can bring your resources and activities into itslearning. Maybe one of the first steps, gather all your resources. As a teacher, you have all kinds of material. Maybe you already use online content, but many still use books as well. And in addition to books, there might be other printed material lying around as well. So in this first video, I will demonstrate how you can get these resources into itslearning. Prior to this, you might have used your scanner to create PDF documents, or maybe even use your phone to take photos of your paper content. And then in this video, I will show you how you can take that material and put it into itslearning. Now, I'm in my English course, and to organize my resources, I first create a folder. Let's imagine I'm going to talk about poetry with my students. And from there, I can add a file or even a folder or folder structure to itslearning. From my computer, I will upload a PDF, but you can also use cloud storage together with itslearning. So maybe you're using Office 365, you're using OneDrive, SharePoint, Microsoft Teams. So adding a PowerPoint presentation from my OneDrive. But if you're using Google Drive, also from there, you can add your documents to itslearning. So in this case, an image, a photo I took of some notes I made, and I upload all those files in itslearning. When I click on them, for example, this image I added from Google, a preview is loaded. Same goes for the PowerPoint presentation I added from my OneDrive. And lastly, the PDF I uploaded from my computer. So all files can nicely be previewed in itslearning. Of course, also many websites are used. For example, YouTube videos. You can easily copy paste those links. And in case of a YouTube video, that's also nicely presented in itslearning. So different ways to get your content in itslearning via your computer, via your preferred cloud storage, but you can also easily embed websites. So in our upcoming release, which will be later this summer, one change we will make is an update to our file icons, where currently you will see the same icon for all uploaded files. But after that release, you will see different icons for the most common file types, such as PDF and images, etc. So, for example, a screenshot of a planner. If you have a PDF connected to your plan and an image or an audio file, I should say here, then the icon will also show what kind of file to expect. And this is a change we're doing so our users can easily see what file it is, so also what to expect or what to see when they click on that file or on that resource. So as I mentioned before, my own sons took books and handouts from school back home. And with the task tool in itslearning, you can also easily set out activities that are done offline, such as reading a chapter of a book. And with the task tool, you can also allow students to complete or check off, if you will, the task, and giving them a feeling they are in control of the work, of the task they are needing to do. So let me just start this video. If I go to the add page of itslearning and I scroll down to the activities settings, there is a task element. Just an example, they need to read a certain chapter in a book. And with the task tool, you can also choose to assign it to specific students, if not all students should see it. But also you have the possibility for your students to check off that task once they're done. And as I said, that puts them a bit in control, but also allows you as a teacher to track which students have done this task and which students haven't done the task yet. Before another activity, first this one, the assign to, we just briefly touched upon in the assignment tool, a way to differentiate, avoid all students seeing a task that's only meant for some students. maybe students that need some additional instruction, or students that are in need of some advanced content. And that functionality very easily assigning tasks to students that will also come to the assignment tool. So later this summer, from the assignment tool, you can very easily assign an assignment to a select group of specific students, or if you're using groups in itslearning, one of those groups as well. Talking about the assignment tool, as I just mentioned, it can be used for students to submit work, and this work can be written directly in the rich text editor that itslearning offers. But you can also submit all kinds of documents. So what we saw me just doing as a teacher, uploading all kinds of files, all those formats are also supported as assignment answers, and students can also upload those files from their computer or from their cloud storage provider. The rich text editor in the assignment tool also allows for students to record their voice or their video, and that's a practice that's especially great if you're a language teacher and, for example, you want to check the pronunciation of your students. Most or by default assignments are individual, but it's also possible to create a group assignments. So in this video, I will create an assignment, and I want my students to work together. Even though they're sitting at their own home, they can still work together in itslearning on this group assignment. So putting in a title, putting in a description, and to turn this into a group assignment, I simply can scroll to the bottom. Many different practices in the assignment tool, but I'm going to use a group activity where my students can create their own groups. Now I have created a file, a Word document, which is basically a template I want my students to fill in, almost like a questionnaire they can just complete. And this file I'm going to drag as attachment to this assignment. And one thing I can do now is to make a copy of that file for each student, or in this case then for each group, when they answer this assignment. In a later video, I will show you how a student will experience this assignment, but also the other content. But for now, we'll move on to the next activity that you can create. And in this video, I will show you how you can use the test tool to create interactive worksheets or quizzes or assessments that can automatically give students feedback while they're working on that test. So they don't need to wait for the teacher to review their work. So let me start the video, and I will create a quick check for understanding. So on the ad page, the test tool, and I'll give it a title and a short description, and I'll create the test after that. Once I've created the title and description, I can start adding questions. Various question types can be added here. So I'm going to add a multiple choice question, give it a description or the question itself rather, and then put in the different alternatives that my students can pick from. And you can see the gray checkbox in front of these question alternatives. And once I'm done adding all my alternatives, I can check which one is correct. And that way, itslearning can also automatically check the answer the student gives and give them immediate feedback. So as I said, various question types that you can add here. In the interest of time, we'll fast forward. I have a bunch of questions added. I just need to make the test visible for my students. How a student interacts with this test or this worksheet or quiz or whatever practice you use it for, I will show you in a bit. First, one comment. You might notice, if you're familiar with the test tool in itslearning, you might notice a slight difference between this test and the ones you're familiar with. We're working on a new version of the test tool, which will be released by the end of the calendar year. And then this test tool should be available to all of our users. Later down this webinar, I'll also briefly touch upon the current test tool that most of our teachers still are using.